Hosted by Bentley.
Yo, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Donkeeshow. Today's guest is the CEO and founder of Heavy Metal Racket. It is my pleasure to welcome Oscar to the Donkeeshow.
What's good, what's good? Appreciate
Thank you for coming and kicking with us, bro.
I appreciate y'all having me, man.
Would you like a beer?
I would. I'd love a beer.
Which one would you like, bro?
Surprise me. Matter of fact, I'll take that Vice Timer.
Okay, cool.
Sounds
All right,
good,
we'll
sounds
do a little cheers right now, bro. Thank you
Yes.
for joining us today. I see you rocking the pink, bro. I see it stands out. I like it.
Appreciate you.
It's different, for sure. You want to do the Stone Cold?
Yeah, that'd be cool. Let's do it. Speaking of, it's
SummerSlam yesterday, and today's the
25th anniversary. There you go.
Bro.
There you go. Yes.
And we're right here recording, right? So we f it up for
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
bro. It's all good, bro.
It's all good.
It's
I'd rather
all good.
be here.
So why Heavy Metal Racket, man? Why'd you start with the brand, and what made you call it that?
Man, it was a creative outlet for me, man. I've always been about looking fly, and it gets costly when you're out spending on these brands, and it just came to me like, man, if I got my own little style, if I got my own way that I want to look, I might as well just do it for myself. Pretty much from that idea, it blossomed. The Heavy Metal Racket thing came about just because that's what I grew up with, man. I'm an 80s baby, so I came up under the Iron Maidens and Metallicas, the big four, Slayer, Megadeth, you know what I mean, to the classic rock, heavy metal, all that shit, man. And it's kind of like a mixture of the Houston culture, classic rock, heavy metal, a little bit of punk, everything just tied in together.
I kind of feel like you've kind of mixed a little bit of everything, though, because you kind of do mix like hip hop in it and a little bit of swag in it too.
Yeah. I'm a hip hop head too, man. So it's like everything that I like, trying to put a little unique spin on it and not make it too cheesy, not make it too gimmicky or cliche. You know what I'm saying? So
When did you start the brand?
about 2011, 2012, around that time. It probably really kicked off in 2012 when I really started putting.
That's when the ball really started.
Yeah,
rolling?
the idea came about in 2011, and then I really started getting it going in 2012. And 2015 was my the year that it peaked, and it really the brand took off and just covered the city, man. So that year was real fun. I like that.
What goes into your creative process to create a shirt? Like, where do you get into to create a shirt?
Really, man, I listen to music all the time, and majority of it comes from either old school Houston music or old school metal. You know, just lyrics that you see, and really, man, a lot of shit comes from the album covers, the classic rock album covers. Like when you see shit like that, there's so much heat, bro. There's so much dope that went into these covers back then. I mean, look, just think of your Iron Maidens, like Eddie the Head. That's iconic, bro. And when you see shit like that, you think of the band tees and all the shit that's really coming out now, and kind of just taking that, listening to music, watching it, being in it, and doing research and just diving in. That's where all that comes from. I'm always listening to music, always.
How do you think the city of Houston has taken your brand?
Man,
how has that been?
Thankfully they've with it pretty heavy, man. It was a little bit of a risk. I feel like when I first started doing it, because I'm taking two what I felt were kind of like polar opposite cultures. Like you got the Houston slab screw culture, and then you got the 80s hard rock heavy metal culture, and I kind of just mashed them together. But that's, like I was saying earlier, it was kind of figuring out a way to make it to where it wasn't too cheesy or cliche or nothing too gimmicky, you know what I'm saying?
But Houston, in a way, needed that. You get what I mean? Needs that, and you get what I'm saying? Merging everybody, you know.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That's dope that you did that.
Yeah, man. I like to think that I got my own lane. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the part of what helped it is when I really started pushing it. All this heavy metal inspired in fashion came out, so it was pretty much a perfect timing for me. But I think that what I'm doing is a little different, man. It's got its own. It's something a little different. You know what I mean? Like you got these Dior and Chanel flips on Iron
you got a
Maiden.
whole
Yeah, but it's
shit now.
like with this, it's like it's something a little more street. It's something a little more edgy. You know what I mean? So.
What do you got working on right now that people should be looking forward to this year?
Man, I really want to start getting into more complex designs. I really like simplicity. If you can tell, I feel like the more the simpler it is, the bolder it is, and the more it stands out. You know what I mean? But I really want to start diving into getting into more complex designs. Like I was telling you, the album covers, and I don't know if you see on my Instagram page that gray cassette slowed down design that I put up there.
Yeah.
I'm always putting out designs that I come up with, and I really want to start incorporating those into the clothing line a lot more.
But you're very active on your social media. Sometimes I wonder how the fuck you do it because you are active like. So I wonder. But
that's what the world runs on, man. It's like if you ain't relevant, then you might as well just get out the way. And the best way to stay relevant is via social media, man. Like social media, bro. I was just thinking about this earlier today. Is probably the best thing to happen to independent people. Anybody out here trying to hustle independently, social media is the best thing that could have happened.
which leads to my next question. What is some advice you could give for any up-and-coming brands that are trying to do things in the city or anywhere else that are trying to make their own brand? What advice would you give them to make their brand relevant and get it out there?
Make sure you really want to do it. You know what I mean? Everybody has one good idea. You know, everybody has one good design. You know what I mean? Like this Houston. That's the most. That's my highest seller. You know, the basic Houston design. And everybody has one design that you can push and run with and make it work. But man, it's a lot of long nights. It's a lot of sleepless nights. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of pushing. It's just a lot of work. You know what I mean? And if you really want to do it, you got to make sure that you really want to do it. You know what I mean? Not that you just want to see one shirt made. Because if you want to see one shirt made, then just go have that shirt made.
Just get it,
you know
go
what
get
I
it
mean?
printed.
Yeah, it's easier to do that than to want to start a whole brand. You know what I mean? It was a learning process for me to learn where I had to be and what I had to do and how I had to take it to the next level. And I enjoyed the process, but it was a lot of fucking work, man. A lot of work, a lot of footwork, a lot of groundwork, a lot of research, and a lot of extra stuff.
What are some of the brands that influence you?
From the jump, Famous Stars and Straps. That was like, when they first came out, I was in high school, and I was fucking with them heavy. When they first came out, they did a lot of shit like what I do, a lot of monochromatic, a lot of just real simple black and white, like that big F, that big badge of honor logo. I loved it. You know, to me, that's why I like keeping things bold and simple, because there's some things that are just so eye-catchy. I'll wear it. I don't care what it is. Like the Monster logo. I see it standing right there. That's what I'm saying. The Monster Energy drink logo. That logo is so iconic. You can put it in different colors and put it on something, and it just looks cool. It's just something that I would like.
Yeah.
And that's the way Famous was. And then Pink Dolphin came along, and they kind of inspired me because their brand was a little more higher quality, I guess you could say. You know what I mean? The shirts were nicer. It was a better fit. It was a better material. And I would say those two together, man, really kind of sparked my interest in the whole clothing line thing.
Cool. I want to actually give this moment so you could tell people exactly where they can find you and actually tell them what you got coming this year for people to be watching out for.
Well, firstly, what I got coming this year is, like I was saying, I want to really start getting into more complex designs. I want to take it a step further. I really want to start getting things like these jackets out. You can find me here in Houston, Texas, in the streets. I'm usually out and about in the city. Social media is Heavy Metal Racket on Instagram and on Facebook. Website is heavymetalracket.com. Twitter is Heavy Metal HTX. So anywhere you see me, man, the Heavy Metal Racket at gmail.com. Send me an email, send me a DM. Get at me if you see me in the street. Hit me up. I'm here. I'm around.
Damn, dog, you forgot Moco Space, bro.
Oh, that WhatsApp. Let me give you my
Now, just
Tinder.
really quick, before we end, show the people the back of the jacket,
Back of
man.
the jacket.
It's dope. It's clean.
Yeah.
So everybody knows. For sure.
There we go.
Peace. Dope, dog. Dope. You're a natural dog. What you think
Oh,
about it?
man, I love it. Appreciate you.
You're recording. Hey, so I'm obligated by all rules of the Donkey Show, by all laws, to ask you these questions. These aren't questions that Donkey Boy comes up with, so I'm gonna ask them to you. All right, bro?
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. First one is, who would you rather see wearing your shirt? Roseanne or Danny Tanner? Roseanne,
or
bro.
Danny Tanner?
My second language is English, bro. Sorry.
Danny Tanner, man. I gotta hold it down for Full House.
Just so you know, bro, my second language is English. That's why I up chips and shit sometimes.
Chips?
Would you ever sponsor a wet t-shirt contest?
Of course.
Where?
Anywhere.
Okay. Are you good at basketball?
No.
What do you play?
With myself.
I dig that. How do you like your eggs?
Over medium.
Over medium.
Over medium. It's a thing.
Green guys and hen?
Delicate process.
Okay. Can you say bye in Japanese?